Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is me again, and I want to talk to you about what we're going to do today. I'm going to try to edit this a little bit on YouTube, so hopefully there's some sort of effect going on that is making this video infinitely cooler than any other video you've ever seen before. Anyway, I want to talk to you about yesterday's work. You did such an amazing job on the notebook entry when you looked through the slides and you noticed what you maybe had mentioned or your classmates had mentioned, and then you picked an idea to isolate and to do some writing about, and I was just so impressed. And I wrote back to each of you who handed that in, and that was just something to think about. Here's an idea that you could write about. You don't have to, but you might. And some of you are onto some really good stuff. So if you have not done that yet, please make sure that you do that, and I'll be able to give you some feedback. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and look through our annotations that we've written and that we've submitted. You wrote 5. You wrote one for each chapter except that last one. And you're going to do a process very similar to what we did with looking at the slides yesterday. You're going to look and see if you see any overlap in your annotations. If you see an idea that repeats, if you see something that just jumps out at you, something that just something that just seems so important, idea that something that just seems big enough for you to write about. Now, I only have 2 annotations myself, so I can't really look at the repetition. I tried, but I didn't really write that much. I mean, I repeated danger a few times. Danger. Protecting kind of implies danger. But what I did is I got very interested in this idea of loneliness and the lonely life. It was in my title. It was loneliness and loneliness. So I think, in addition to what I wrote yesterday, I can write, I could probably write something about loneliness. And the more that I think about it, the more that I'm convinced that loneliness is certainly something that I think the author was trying to hint at or get to, or here was an idea that I would like to write about. So what I did is I wrote another notebook entry. Let me show you what I did. And actually, it's in the Notability too. Okay, so I did something very similar to what you saw yesterday. I wrote my title up here, Part 2, Thursday. I could write about loneliness. Right, here's my idea. So this is different than yesterday's, but it's kind of the same path. And, I didn't want to jump right into the book because when the minute I wrote loneliness like this, I was thinking about this quarantine. And I felt lonely in this quarantine. I mean, I have 3 kids, a husband, a dog that I'm with this entire time. But even then, I still have felt times of loneliness. And I just to tell you a really little story, at the very beginning of all of this, my mother came over, and my mom is about 75, and she was dropping off something at the house, and I think it was my daughter's birthday present. My daughter turned 10 in early March, so that's how long ago this was. It was in March, and my mom came over, and she was standing in the driveway, and she was there, but I couldn't touch her, and I couldn't feel her, and I had this unbelievable sense of loneliness, even though she was right there. I never experienced that, and I didn't expect that. I've kind of gotten used to it when I've seen her a few times. We stand far apart in the driveway, and we say hi to each other. But anyway, so I started my entry today with real life, and you can do that if you want to. You certainly don't have to. It just kind of struck me that this was coincidental that I was writing about loneliness during this quarantine. So anyway, here's what I wrote. It's so interesting to write about loneliness during this quarantine because while I'm not totally alone, I have felt the stab of loneliness in me more than once. And then I broke into the book. Something I could write about. Each man on this ranch seems to ache with longing and loneliness. Candy is aging and he feels his purpose fading. His only friend, which was his dog, was put to sleep, and he's left looking or even grasping at Lenny and George's dream. Like, it's, if you take a step back, this dream seems pretty ridiculous. They're going to find some land and they're going to just live happily ever after. And here's a man who doesn't know them, who's going to just join in all of this. But in the moment, he's kind of grasping at that, and it seems in his mind to be pretty real. I thought about Crooks. Crooks also is lonely. He puts up a front, right? He acts as if he's immune, or he doesn't feel this hurt of loneliness, and he is defensive. He defends against the feelings and this pain that accompanies his isolation. Crooks's loneliness is hidden by his anger, right? Curly's wife is also lonely. Right? While she's not a man on the ranch, she certainly struggles with this. She married Curly to escape this monotony of her life, yet she's got no friends and no purpose. She doesn't even have a name. Did you notice that? She's not even given a name, because that's, in my mind, this is what I think. She's nobody. Right? She's nobody. She spends her days flirting with the men and avoids her husband. And once George kills Lenny, the dark curtain of loneliness hits him. Not only does his dream die, his companion died, his connection to home and his family die in the brush. So I started with a little story about my family, and I know, George's family was gone in a single moment. Loneliness, this is kind of my my end or my conclusion. Loneliness can consume and injure. Even the strongest man can be crippled by loneliness and its physical pain. Okay, so you may have noticed that I was using my red pen to highlight words like stab and then ache and then pain. I went back and I saw that I was doing this when I was writing. And I even wrote the word crippled. And all of those, that's like physical pain. So loneliness is emotional, but it almost causes physical pain, if that makes any sense. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts. That's what I was thinking about when I wrote my entry. Your job today is to do the same thing. Take a look through your annotations that you've created. See if you find anything that kind of connects all of these, or if you find one topic you think that you could really go deeper into, do a journal entry and hand it in and post it, and I'll take a look at it and give you some feedback. Hope this unit is going along in a way that you can understand, that you're keeping up. Send me your questions if you have them. If you need something else from me, let me know, and hopefully all will be well. All right, talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.